Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. I feel like I'm always mentioning the name Tagasaste in my videos. So today I thought we could take a closer look at this tree and explore the reasons why I love it here in my cool temperate location. If you wander along my swales, particularly at this time of year, you can't help but notice this beautiful tree. It's early spring here and these plants have been flowering for several months already and just starting to slow down. I'm using this tree to help build my food forest as it is a pioneer species that grows well in disturbed soils that are high in bacteria and low in fungi numbers. It does have a weed potential in some areas, but it is its ability to grow well that I'm utilising on this property. It is a tree that has quite a number of benefits, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. This Tagasaste tree is one that I haven't chop and dropped at this point, and it's quite large. This would be a tree that would be suitable for animals to graze on. You could move livestock past trees like this and they can graze them down quite severely, and the plants should just regrow. Alternatively, you could do a cut and carry it to your livestock as well. So these trees make a really great fodder for animals. One of the main reasons I love this plant is because of the nectar it provides my bees in winter. There are not many winter flowering plants around here, but this tree produces masses of flowers and ensures the bees have access to a great food source all of winter. Tagasaste can be hedged and used as a windbreak. I'm using Tagasaste here as a windbreak for new plantings of avocados. These plantings are protected from the cold south winds by these trees here. Strong, damaging westerly winds are also tamed a little before affecting the avocados. I've still got my little avocado tree in its little tent, protected from frost, although this canopy has really helped this season. Now, something to consider when I do come to chop and drop these trees here is leaving enough of these branches over the avocado to help protect it in summer. Avocados don't like the burning hot sun directly on them, and some dappled light in the heat is probably better for an avocado tree. So I'll probably take out half of these branches, but certainly leave something like that and maybe some from this tree just over the top of this avocado tree, just to help it, especially in its younger years. Tree lucerne, which is another name for Tagasaste, has a dense wood which can be used for wood turning, and it also has excellent potential as a firewood crop, given the fact that it coppices readily. Well, most of the trees have grown really well. I have come across some trees that have had their roots rot in the ground, and that's some fungal disease that happens when they get a little bit too wet. Not too many trees have gone this way, but they do die off, and I would just be chopping and dropping this. This bit here where the thicker trunk might be something you could use for wood turning, you know, making some spoons or forks or something with that. Or this, if you're not just laying this down on the ground to rot and help with soil building, you could use some of this for firewood. One of the benefits of this tree I always thought was that it was a nitrogen fixer. I had believed that when you trimmed the trees, some nitrogen was released from the roots to the soil as a result. Now, I don't think this is actually the case, and I've come across people who have researched this and say the nitrogen is only released if the plant dies. I believe nitrogen is provided to nearby plants if using branches and leaves as a mulch around these plants, so it's still of benefit in providing some nitrogen. What I really love about this tree is that being a pioneer species, it's a really fast grower, and you can chop and drop and provide mulch for your higher value trees. The woody mulch also provides food for fungi, so helps their numbers increase in the soil, which further helps the productive trees and shrubs. One of Jeff Lawton's sayings that I heard numerous times during my PDC was that forests grow on fallen forests. Tagasaste really helps me create that fallen forest by providing lots of biomass. I did chop and drop this tree earlier in the year, mostly to give this little apricot a bit more access to light. I'll be finishing the chop and drop on this side because this has got the regrowth happening on it now, and it did leave that side to produce all the flowers that the bees love so much. One of the things I found most difficult with the Tagasaste was deciding when it was best to do the chop and drop. Usually it's best to do chop and drop when precipitation exceeds evaporation, and for me in my climate that's towards the end of autumn. Now I did chop this tree back during autumn because I wanted the mulch for one of my productive trees, but as you can see there's a lot of regrowth on it and not as many of the flowers. Now it's the flowers that I also love the benefit of, so you've really got to decide on the timing of it, and for me I think I might need to do the chop and drop a little bit later in the year. In contrast to that really green tree is a tree like this that I haven't chopped as yet, and it's certainly due a bit of chop and drop treatment. Now I just wanted to remind you that I am experimenting a lot and learning as I go. So these aren't how-to videos, but I'm just sharing my experiences, my successes and failures so that we can all learn as we go. So for me, to make the most of the benefits of a Tagasaste tree in terms of the flowers and the nectar it can provide for my bees, which is early in winter, I'm going to choose to do the chop and drop at the end of winter and early in spring, just as the plant is coming into seed and before the pods fully develop. It means there's nothing left for the bees, and the tree hasn't put the energy into producing all the seeds at this point, and they're not going to produce a massive trees down below. So I reckon at the moment this is the perfect time to be doing the chop and drop. By doing it now, I think it is the right balance between having enough of a wet growing season left before the hot summer comes so that it will put on lots of growth. You can see it's just starting to kick into some growth. So we will stop that, but when we chop it back, it should start to spring to life again. I'm still kind of experimenting and finding the best path. I do chop and drop at various times for various reasons, but the main thing I like with these trees is all those flowers. So I'm going to see how we go with this tree and revisit it down the track to see how well it regrows. So today I'm going to take quite a bit of this tree and use the prunings to mulch my nearby almond tree. This tree isn't right next to one of my productive trees, so I don't have to consider things like the windbreak function or frost protection or providing summer shade, so I can kind of do a general prune right around. There's my pruned tree. I have still left quite a bit of green on it and some growing points for the moment. I am still a little nervous about fully chopping these trees, and my confidence will grow as I do this and they grow back successfully. I will be keeping an eye on this tree and checking that it regrows during spring as expected. But for the moment, that is all I'm going to do, and I'm just going to use all of these trimmings to mulch my almond tree. At the moment, my almond tree is kind of mulched by this creeping buttercup. It's right around the base at the bottom there, which we're going to squash down with the other mulch. I have put a layer of manure around all of my trees, and under there is other woody mulch. So I'm just going to squash all this down with the Tagasaste prunings. If this tree was a small tree, I'd probably chop these branches up a little bit more so that it lies more snugly to the ground. But it's a large tree. I don't think any of this is hurting in terms of being too close to the trunk. It's not too far off the ground. It will still hold moisture. And I'll be coming along and just stomping on that and breaking it down to the ground further as it becomes dry and a little bit more brittle. Well, that's one Tagasaste tree harvested for its mulch. That's the main purpose that I have these trees for, but as you can see, they do have multiple benefits. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.